First of all, I just want to clarify that humans aren't carnivores, but they're omnivores, which means that they eat both vegetation and animal. Probably the most successful method of survival, as there's the widest range of products available. So the first point in terms of morals would be that if you enforced a law which would prevent humans from eating one segment of their foodstuffs, then you're potentially de-evolving humans to a less survival efficient being, in that their range of foodstuffs is reduced. So in that moral respect, that's that's potentially quite an immoral thing to do to humankind. I'm not sure whether humans could be fully considered herbivores. That's not what a vegetarian is talking about, because the majority of herbivores tend to eat grasses and leaves, something for which humans have never done. If you went and mowed the lawn and dumped the grass on the dinner table, I think you would have a lot of problems, really. So the vegetation that humans would be eating would be fruit, roots, nuts, still the more fleshy parts of vegetation. Humans do tend to like the fleshy aspect of things. The second point about morals is the eternal problem with any discussion on the moral implication of killing things, particularly living things, or animals, or things that might be considered sentient in a human sense. Some vegetarians will happily eat fish or consume dairy products, but on the vegans won't eat the dairy products, for example, and this is quite a complicated issue of the extent to which vegetarians want any involvement with animal products whatsoever. And in the moral context, the case has always been, where do you draw the line? What living creature is sort of like considered untouchable? When you consider that single-cell life forms are still living creatures, but they're too small for us to ever consider protecting or finding a way to protect permanently. If you just walk down the street, you're going to tread on insects. If you go for a walk in the woods, you're treading on insects. You're not intentionally killing things, but it's just what happens. And could you ever create a way in which you could move about without killing insects? I don't think so. They fly in your mouth when you're asleep, they splat on your car windscreen, they get splatted when they land on your jam at a picnic. So, and then level up from insects, you got sort of mice, rats, guinea pigs, whatever. And you see the eternal problem with the moral dilemma is, where do you draw the line? When a farmer combines their field, they plough through lots and lots of little shrews and mice and all that kind of thing, slaughtering hundreds to bring you your vegetarian loaf of bread. And so when you're talking about morals, in that you're not eating because it's immoral to kill, then that's sort of a moot, and that's never been the issue with vegetarianism, the moral aspect of it. The moral aspect has only ever been regarding the sort of larger, more closer relations to humans. But again, all you're doing is pushing the line. The problem will never be solved, because as you progress down the line, smaller and smaller, less sentient animals, at some point it just gets ridiculous. And so you're just left with a permanent line drawing dilemma that has nothing to do with morality, but just has to do with political argument, of which there would never be full agreement. So why even bother going down that road in the first place, when it is quite obviously and quite visibly a dead end? And again, in terms of morality, when you get into the issue of morality and other beings on the planet aside from humans, and how humans interact with them, then you're getting into a very messy situation, because in order to plant the field that has the corn or the rice in it, you have to completely devastate the lives and homes of all the creatures that used to live there anyway. So by being vegetarian, you're not necessarily not killing other creatures, you're simply not eating them. So the moral argument that you don't eat meat because you don't want to kill things is sort of slightly irrational and hypocritical, because in order to eat vegetables or corn and rice or whatever, you have to create an environment which excludes all the animals, i.e. killing them, removing their habitat. I was going to make a video anyway at some point about rabbits, and I'll probably still make a video about rabbits one day. In that rabbits used to be the main source of food for almost everybody in the UK. They were the old version of chips, or the old version of a curry, and that barely a week went by when somebody didn't eat a rabbit pie or a rabbit stew or just a baked rabbit. But ironically, we've stopped eating rabbits. I don't know why we've stopped eating rabbits. That was going to be part of the main course of the video that I was going to make about rabbits. Why have we stopped eating rabbits? Why don't we find rabbits in the supermarket as common as we do chicken? But in terms of this moral debate, what's happened with rabbits since we stopped eating them is that the only rabbits that exist in the countryside are being given myxomatosis, so that they don't eat the vegetables and the corn crops and the rice. So again, instead of having fields full of rabbits being farmed, we've got fields full of corn, and we're killing the rabbits to have the corn. So again, that's in terms of the morality of not killing, and therefore not eating meat. Yeah, well, you're just killing them but not eating them, basically, which is very strange morality. It's a very difficult subject, and one that I could speak about at length. But these are just a few words to sort of like an introduction, as it were, to anybody who's thinking about either making an issue about out of vegetarianism, or wants to understand vegetarianism a bit more. And to respond to a good video which I saw.